first off, thank you so much for joining us. And you see the name Senna, and you look into this project as a director. Uh, it seems like it's pretty intimidating because this is a person who is so representative of sport in so many different countries, Brazil specifically, and Brazilians are passionate. Vicente, was it kind of scary for you to take this on?
And it kept me awake for 3 years, and it still does. Senna means a lot to me. I grew up watching Senna. I was a teenager when he became who he who he did become, and a young man when he passed. And he means a lot to me personally, and he just like he means to me what he means to so many people all over the world. But as a Brazilian, he means even more. There's no one quite like Senna in Brazil with the kind of, transversal reach that he has all over all kinds of walks of society. And it just sets the bar really, really high. It's a huge responsibility. It's a huge undertaking. It's something that I really had to, like Senna would say, give it 110% to make sure I could ask for 100% from everybody else. So yeah, it's a great, great responsibility.
Well, first of all, thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. I've gotten to watch the first four episodes of Senna. From myself, I was a professional racing driver, and the reason I got into racing was because watching Senna when I was a 9-year-old. He was everything to me as well. I found like the movie, the show is just incredible, and the attention to detail is also incredible. I just wanted to know how challenging it was to get the script like exactly where you wanted it before you started shooting this.
It was a huge challenge because I mean there are lots of challenges of parallel challenges in the show like Senna. There's the obvious the challenges of getting every detail right, from the cars to the period to the music to the sets, the wardrobe, all of that. But there's also the greatest challenge of them all, which is doing Senna justice, is telling a story of the man to audiences that know him and that will come after you if you get anything wrong,
Yeah.
and to people who have never really, I mean, that know of him but not really, don't really know the man, don't know his story, that know a little bit of the myth and of the hero, but not so much of what made him a hero. And that was really what we were after. I mean, as you guys know better than anybody else, there are many extraordinary drivers in motor racing and in F1, but there's only ever really been one hero, and that is Senna.
Mm-hmm.
To understand why he is that guy, why he is that hero, and how he became this hero, not just in Brazil, but all over the world for people like you guys, like me, like people like today. I was talking to people from Romania and Italy and you name it, why he means so much, not just like a genius driver, but as a person. And to make that work inside the script, that was a huge, huge challenge. Probably an even bigger challenge than the technical challenges we faced, which were, of course, huge, numerous, and super complicated.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of the answer is balancing the technical aspects of who he was as a driver, the genius driver he was, with the emotional side. And those things always went hand in hand. No matter what his technical prowess might have been, and we know he was who he was, and like the Honda engineers were always, surprised to find out that he could figure out stuff about the engine that they couldn't with their own instruments and stuff like that, and his blipping and the way he drove, and how he went into the apex, et cetera, et cetera. But that went hand in hand with a very emotional man who wore his his heart on his gloves, really. not and that made him very special. And that is an aspect of him that, even having watched all his races and documentaries and having read the books, you can only really get through to the audience through fiction because you're not bound by objectivity. You have you have the ability of to be subjective, to show him as a person and not just as a document, not just as a picture, not just as
Video game character.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And so yeah, that was probably the greatest challenge.
I just thought, sorry, Adam, to jump in. I just thought, like, even like the attention to detail, like even when you're showing the driving clips, like even in the foot box, like he's even doing the blipping of the throttle, which was like signature to him. Like he was the only one who actually ever really did that, and it's just for me, I caught that, and I'm just like, oh wow, that's such an incredible attention to detail. It's like,
no, absolutely, yeah, we were very, very careful about every aspect. And I saw a clip of something else this weekend where the driver was taking his helmet off with his gloves on. We would never do that.
Well, Vicente, we really appreciate your time. Honestly, I think we could talk to you for an hour, but we get what we get today, and you were fantastic. Congratulations on the series, and we wish you all the best going forward.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
Adam Wild and Tim Haraney of SDPN. I was so excited to be talking to Gabriel and Matt. Gabriel Leone, who's playing Ayrton Senna. Matt Mella, who is Alain Prost. Guys, we are so excited for this series. Have seen it, and I have to start with you, Gabriel, because you're playing somebody who's akin to a god in Brazil, but not just in Brazil, around the world. Formula One fans love this guy. When they approached you about this role, did you go, oh, that might be too much? That's a little too intimidating for me. How did you feel about it?
I mean, as an actor, is the best ones could get, and as a Brazilian actor, I just can't think of a better role, especially because our Netflix production, is by far the biggest production ever in Brazilian history. Wow. So to me, it was an honor to play him. And as an actor, such an amazing, probably the biggest challenge of my career. And that's what we actors are always looking for. I love to change myself for the characters. I love to prep myself to create the smallest details and to change physically for the characters. And to be able to do that for Senna, to tell such a great story based on such a great idol story, was just amazing.
Just to piggyback off that a little bit, question for Matt, and playing Alain Prost, who, I mean, now is obviously still with us. What were the challenges in trying to portray someone who, obviously is still alive with us, but also at the same time is an icon in Formula One?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest challenge was marrying that with the fact we're writing a drama series. We're not doing a documentary. We're not doing an impression of these. We really, Gabby and I, the whole time worked on trying to get the essence of these guys and not imitating them. But for me personally, the biggest challenge was marrying all of the research I'd done on him and the fact that, of course, I was probably for 7 months, I had to be the only Prost fan. And I was like his biggest advocate, which obviously meant like basically clashing on a daily basis with people. Obviously people I like, so they weren't real clashes, but it was marrying that with what we've got in the script, which is obviously he is, in this instance, the antagonist, and he serves a very specific purpose in this script and in relation to the protagonist of the series, that is Senna. So that was the biggest challenge. It was marrying up those two and learning when to keep my mouth shut. Sometimes you just got to shut up and say what's written in the script.
That's fair. We could all learn something from that. Hey, Gabriel, I'm curious, as a Brazilian yourself, what was your family's reaction when they found out what you were doing?
They were just they just exploded in happiness, because I'm from 93, so I wasn't even 1 year old when he died.
Hmm.
But I grew up in a family of Senna's fans. So, um, I mean, my family's, I'm really close to them, to my parents, to my brother, and they've always been so supportive for with my career, and especially for my parents, for my grandparents that really followed Senna, used to wake really early in the morning to watch him race, had that as a tradition, as a familiar tradition, just like probably all of Brazilian families. It was it was something else, I'd say. Um, and so on for me, you know, not only as I said before because of an amazing challenge it was, but also because it's always amazing to make the ones you love proud of you. So when I first told them I would play Santa, I could feel, I could see on their eyes how proud of me they were. And now, I mean, in a couple of weeks, my mom and dad will be with me here in São Paulo at the premiere, and I just can't wait to see their faces watching the series.
Yeah, it's an excellent series. I've already gotten through to episode 5, and it's fantastic. I mean, I was a
Thank you.
professional driver back in the day, and Senna was yeah, he was a hero for me. He's the reason why I got involved in motorsports to begin with. And I felt just that both of you just did such a great job of recreating who both of these characters were, people were. Did you get a chance to like do any like racing at all? Like did you jump in any simulators? And it's a question for both. To experience like what that world is like inside a race car.
Yeah, well, we did 6 weeks of prep, roughly, Gabby and I. We had a couple of the other actors come in and out for those 6 weeks, but for those whole 6 weeks, it was Gabby and I in Argentina doing, I think we did like 3 sessions a week, maybe 2 or 3 sessions a week, like 2 hour sessions of just go-karting. And we had our coach was a guy called Gustavo who actually raced with Senna in karting in like South American formulas when they were younger. And so we just bombed it around the track like 2 hours, 3 times a week, and just tried to get faster and faster. And
then I think the intention was for us to research the feeling as close as possible, of course, to be a racing driver, to be a Formula One driver, to be as close to the ground as possible, and to overtake each other, and to have a good day driving, a bad day driving, to have a dry track or a wet track. So to feel all of the variations of being a racing driver, and to get used to use gloves and helmets.
Yeah, what order things go in, like the stuff that you as an actor you wouldn't, or as a person you wouldn't think about until you've gotten into a car and you're like, shit, I can't put my helmet on unless I've got my gloves off.
Yeah, exactly.
And random things like that you wouldn't think about.
Yeah, just to feel more comfortable about it, to feel
where
more
you look,
present. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it was fun. It was funny.
Yeah.
As hell.
I mean, what a joke. Like someone's like, by the way, dude, we're now going to pay you to go go-karting. And I'm like, sure, fine,
and also to pop some champagnes.
Yeah.
Popping champagnes.
Does it actually sting your eyes if you get it in your eyes?
Like crazy.
Of course,
yes.
Yeah.
And it
did.
stinks afterwards as well.
Yeah, it does.
So-
It does.
So I want to ask you guys, just for the both of you, they say for actors, one of the coolest roles that you can ever play is a villain. And one of you is the hero here, one of you is the villain. But I want to ask you both, do you think there will ever be a cooler role than playing a Formula One driver?
That's tough, man.
Yeah. First of all, I don't. Ayrton is a hero.
Not a hero and antagonist, I guess, is a better.
Yeah, that's
Antagonist
better.
is definitely
Is that better?
That's
Better.
the way we try
Yeah.
to portray them. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because I never portrayed him. I never portrayed him as a villain ever, because
No.
I don't think he is.
No.
But of course, from Senna's point of view, he was
His rival.
not like the enemy. Yeah, his rival
Yeah.
at the time.
The one
So-
to be beaten.
Exactly. So whatever you do, it is that. And I think that's probably for me playing an antagonist, or I mean, I would certainly like to play actual villains moving forwards, because to me those are always the most interesting ones, because there's a reason people behave the way they do. It's never empty. This is not a villain, but it still was. It's interesting to find out what drives someone, regardless of where they sit. And the best thing about playing a villain is that you don't ever have to play him as a villain. You play the truth of what's there. You play what is true to them, and the script usually does the rest.
They don't know they're
No,
villains.
no one knows.
That's
No
the
villain
best
knows they're a
part.
villain.
Yeah. And I definitely can't think of any cooler role than a racing driver.
No.
Especially using those beautiful red overalls,
Yeah.
McLaren's
Yeah.
overalls, you know, and
Yeah.
the helmets and all the thing. I think Formula One back in the days was so charming. Like
They were
it
like
was-
rock stars back then.
Yeah,
I mean, even though
exactly.
like no
Yeah.
one actually looks good in racing overalls,
Yeah.
like even if you're quite built or in really good shape, you still look a little bit dodgy in overalls, but it doesn't matter. You
But
you
were,
feel
and we were always, when we were walking to the set, we were always like picking a song up,
yeah, it was usually
like
Fortunate Son.
an
We thought we
epic,
were
an epic
cool.
song for us to
Good
be
song.
walking on the
We
set.
really
You know?
thought we were cool, but
Yeah.
we probably looked like assholes, but we thought we were cool.
That's awesome. Well, listen, guys, Tim, do you have any last quick question? Because we got to wrap here.
Yeah. Just one quick one, guys. This isn't going to come out until after the series has already been launched and everything, but just wanted to get what was your favorite part of this to film? Like, which I guess part of it was the most fun?
For me, it was definitely the whole sequence of 1991, the first time he won in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
He was already a three-time world champion, and he's been trying. He had been trying to win Brazil for so long, and every time something weird happened. And when he won, something really weird happened. His car broke. His gear got stuck on sixth gear. So, and then it started raining. You know the whole story.
Yeah.
So, and then he passed out in the end of the race. He was devastated, destroyed, and he couldn't even hold the trophy and put it up. So for me to shoot that whole sequence was really emotional, and I really like physically I had to give my all, for that whole sequence.
It's great. Well, gentlemen,
That's awesome.
Mine were
sorry,
just,
go ahead, Matt.
mine were the huge sequence shots. Vicente, our director, had a really strong idea of style. I'm sure because you guys saw it. Those enormous tracking sequence shots. There's nothing quite like it.
It feels like
It's almost like theater.
you're there. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm.
Gentlemen, we really appreciate your time,
Yeah.
and congratulations on the series. It's fantastic, and as
Yeah.
Thank you,
hardcore
guys.
Formula One fans ourselves,
Yeah.
it's so nice to see it represented well, because it's really hard
Yeah.
to pull that off. So well done, gentlemen, and
Yeah.
I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
too.
guys.
Take care.
Cheers.